What's good, gang? We are back for another Labyrinth / UFC breakdown, full fight card prediction with your host, Big Ear, right here. And it looks like we got another 13 fight banger fight night to get into. You already know what it is. We jumping straight into it. First fight, you got Mick Parkin versus Mohammed Usman. This fight for me comes down to the pressure and pace of Mick Parkin versus the power of Mohammed Usman. Mohammed Usman, guy really only does one thing. Anytime you try to come in on him and touch him up with anything, he just does that same little duck under move and counter overhand right. He just does it over and over. He always blocks punches with his face. He does not have very good defense at all. Parkin, if he can just look out for that big right hand, he should be cruising right along, man. Mixing a little wrestling, lean on him a little bit. He should win this fight easy. I got Mick Parkin by decision right here. Next up, flyweights, Igor da Silva Severino versus André Lima. Pretty interesting little scrap right here, guys. You got Igor Severino, who's going to be looking to crash space in this fight, because if he stands out at range, it's not going to be a good night for him. André Lima is the far better kickboxer of the two. He's going to be cleaner on the feet and probably more powerful as well. So Severino, it's going to be all about forward momentum for him. If he can keep that forward pressure into Lima, don't let him get his kicks off, he should be doing all right, man. Get in there, get his grappling going. I'm going to go ahead and take the dog shot on Severino. Montserrat Rendon versus Darya Zheleznyakova up, and this is a tale of two fights for me right here, guys. I see moments where Rendon is able to get her down, start working her wrestling, and other moments where Darya Zheleznyakova is basically just fending off the takedowns and piecing her up on the feet. Absolutely no confidence in this read whatsoever, but I just see more of those moments where Zheleznyakova is getting her offense off and doing more damage. So yeah, the pick is going to have to be Darya Zheleznyakova. Fire matchup up next, Jarno Errens versus Nguyen. Now, this fight right here has the potential to be your fight of the night, because both these guys are very evenly matched, and they're both pretty similar in what they like to do. They're both stand-up strikers who bring a pretty high-action, high-paced fight, and always bring a pretty good show. So this should be a pretty good scrap. Jarno Errens is probably a little bit better with his knees and kicks, whereas Nguyen is going to be more proficient with the hands. Now, I see this fight being pretty competitive for the most part, up until the point where it's just not anymore, because Jarno Errens, the guy's offense to defense is just not really that good, because anytime he's going on the attack, his head's not really moving, and it's usually always on the center line. So not going to be a good thing against a guy who hits as hard as Nguyen. This fight probably pretty close up until maybe late second, third round. Nguyen starts pouring it on and possibly even gets him out of there. I got Nguyen here. All right, next fight up, Miles Johns versus Cody Gibson. This fight right here, guys, is one of those fights where I really could see it going either way. I think this is a fight that ends up going to a close decision. It's just going to be about what did the judges see, what were they looking at. I think if they're looking at Miles Johns, they're going to see a guy with better boxing for sure, and a strong wrestling attack, probably pushing a pace early. And then if they're looking at Gibson on the other side, they're looking at his just constant pressure and better cardio. He certainly is going to have the cardio advantage in this one. We've seen Miles Johns gas out before, and I think this is another one of those fights where, you know, he could end up gassing out. I could see it. Cody Gibson just drags him out into deep waters and drowns him, man. So, yeah, I like the dog shot on Cody Gibson in this one. I like his pressure. I like his pace. I like his cardio. I think he can wrestle a little bit as well if he has to, and that can really wear out Miles Johns, really start getting his gas tank running on fumes there. So I'm going to have to go with Cody Gibson right here. All right, next up we got Julian Erosa versus Ricardo Ramos. Pretty volatile fight right here, guys. I see whoever wins this fight is probably going to get it done inside the distance. If it's Ramos, then he's probably going to hurt Julian Erosa on the feet with some wild spinning attack and get Erosa shooting for maybe a desperation shot. Probably locks up guillotine or something like that. And if it's Erosa, then it's going to be fight getting a little bit deeper on, and maybe gets in the third round. Ramos is going to be gassing out, and it's going to be another big Julian Erosa knockout. But as far as how do I see it going, I don't know. I really don't see this fight going too far, honestly. I don't see it getting into those later stages, and so I am going to have to lean more towards the Ramos side. I think at this point, Julian Erosa, we've seen he just can't take that big shot anymore like he used to be able to. So, yeah, I see Ramos probably getting it done early, hurting him on the feet, and then locking up a submission on the ground, little club and sub. So, yeah, right here I got Ricardo Ramos by first round stoppage. Next up, Trey Ogden versus Kurt Holobaugh. This is another pretty good scrap right here, guys. I see this as being kind of like a scrambly match between grapplers. I see Ogden as being the guy definitely with the cleaner technique on the feet. Holobaugh is going to be that, again, guy trying to go forward and pressure. But a big key for me here is going to be the wrestling of Ogden too. He's going to have the advantage standing out at range with his strikes, his jab, very nice. And then once it gets inside distance, he can change levels quickly, take Kurt Holobaugh down. Kurt Holobaugh being a wrestler himself, wrestlers do not like to be on their back. So if Trey Ogden can put the wrestler Kurt Holobaugh on his back, man, he can have a lot of success there. Maybe even find a submission on Kurt Holobaugh as well. So, you know, I'm fairly confident in Trey Ogden right here. I can see a path for Kurt Holobaugh. It's just, I just think this is a terrible stylistic matchup for him. So I'm going to have to go with Trey Ogden right here. There's a lot of interesting fights on this card. Here's another one. Fernando Padilla versus Luis Pajuelo. Now this is another exciting matchup because you got Fernando Padilla, who's a guy very, very exciting on the feet. Educated left hand, good jab, left hook, solid right hand as well. He's got pretty decent footwork, but I will say that Luis Pajuelo is going to have the faster feet of the two. Now, that would be more to his advantage if he used his footwork more. Unfortunately, he doesn't really do that. He kind of just steps forward and stands in front of guys. That's going to be a problem against Fernando Padilla because Padilla's got a huge reach advantage in this fight. And so he's going to be using that solid jab all night long. I see that long jab of Padilla being a problem for Pajuelo. And then once Pajuelo is even able to get inside that, he's just going to be like going into the wood chipper, man, because Padilla is just going to grab that Muay Thai clinch, start feeding them knees and elbows. And I think that's going to be all she wrote, man. I see Padilla stopping Pajuelo with maybe a knee from the clinch. I got Fernando Padilla here. Billy Quarantillo versus Youssef Zalal up, and once again this is another fight that comes down to a pressure fighter. This time it's Quarantillo trying to get inside and get his hands going against the outside striker and Zalal. And Zalal just cannot allow Billy Quarantillo to back him up and trap him up against that cage. If he does, he's going to be having a bad night here. Now if he can keep his footwork and movement going, keep his back off that cage, he can have a lot of success in the stand-up here. I do like the little dog play on Youssef Zalal. I think he can do some damage at range and maybe get the decision. Give me Zalal. Coming up next, we got Cameron Simon versus Payton Talbot. And this is yet another up-and-coming prospect clash right here. Good fight. If you guys never seen Payton Talbot fight before, I can tell you his offense to defense, not the greatest. His defensive responsibility just in general leaves a lot to be desired. He's one of those guys who likes to use his chin as a weapon. He'll take your best shot just to step forward and land 2 or 3 of his own, and he's very comfortable doing that. He's comfortable in a firefight. He's got good hand speed. Both these guys, I would say, have about comparable speed. They're both pretty fast guys, but Payton, he's going to be a little bit more on the front foot, got a little bit heavier hands. I think Cameron Simon, he can get out ahead in this fight if he looks to wrestle a little bit, and he can do that for sure. He can go out there, put Talbot on his back in that first round. I see him getting ahead doing that, but then, Talbot, not the easiest guy to hold down. I see him coming back, probably winning round 2. It's probably going to be even going into that 3rd round. Simon, again, going to look to take him down, secure the round, secure the victory, but Talbot, man, he's a former wrestler himself, and he's got really good scramble ability. He can scramble back up to his feet, and when he does, I see him just stepping through the fire once again, probably hurting Simon on the feet. Give me Payton Talbot. Middleweights up next, Edmund Shabazian versus AJ Dobson. This is a very intriguing fight, just for the simple fact that Edmund Shabazian is probably the guy in the UFC who has the most to prove. We've seen him in the past, get out to really strong starts, and then if the opponent gives a little resistance, starts to come back, we see his gas tank just doesn't hold up. He starts to fall apart mentally as well, and he ends up getting finished himself. So he's definitely got to work on that. He's got a guy in front of him that, it's not going to be an easy night. AJ Dobson, I like his footwork. I like his counter straight right hand. Very good with that. Now he can get hit a little bit and get touched up when he goes to throw the right hand a little bit. And in this fight in particular, I think Shabazian is definitely going to have the faster feet right here, and that could be a big key because Shabazian definitely likes to use his kicks, especially the teep to the body, to maintain his range. And so with his feet being faster, that could be a huge key in this fight. Dobson, if he was smart, he would go in there and try to take Shabazian down, wear him out with his wrestling, but man, his fight IQ is just not very good. I've seen his corner calling for wrestling and just over and over, and he just doesn't even go for the takedown, especially against Armin Petrosian. So yeah, I like Shabazian in this spot. Heavyweights in the co-main event, it's Carl Williams versus Justin Tafa. It's your typical striker versus grappler matchup right here. Carl Williams not going to want to have any part of Justin Tafa on the feet. He's going to want to immediately take this fight down and look to secure a submission early. If he can't do that, however, I could see him actually getting pretty tired trying to take down Justin Tafa, a man who's going to have a big weight advantage on him. It's not going to be easy trying to go in there and take down a guy who's got that much of a size advantage when it comes to the weight. So if he doesn't get it done early, he could run into a problem right there. I just see him starting to slow down, especially if this fight hits round 2. Not that Tafa has the best gas tank, but 2 big guys in there, both getting a little bit tired, especially Williams trying to grapple. I can see him getting caught here. I'm going to have to go with Justin Tafa by knockout. Main event time, Amanda Ribas versus Rose Namajunas. This fight, you got former strawweight champion Rose Namajunas looking to get back on the winning track here against a pretty tough opponent, Amanda Ribas. Now, I do see Rose having a pretty significant advantage striking in this fight. I think she's got the much cleaner hands, much more technically sound on the feet in general, and better power as well. Now, Ribas, she can have success in this fight if she just tries to put numbers up on Rose, be a lot busier, look to out-volume her. Maybe if this fight hits the ground, she can have a little bit of success with her grappling as well. But Rose, again, no slouch on the ground either. She's got very good wrestling and submission skills in her own right. So, yeah, I just see this as being pretty clear advantage for Rose Namajunas. I think she just, looks to keep that foot on the gas pedal, really focuses on not letting opponents be busier than her. Yeah, she should be all right. Just shoot straight shots on Ribas as Ribas tries to, come wide, and she should be all right. I got Rose Namajunas by decision right here. And if you made it this far, guys, massive shout out to you. As always, be sure to subscribe to Rabbit Sports ENT on YouTube for the craziest live streams, the most entertaining sports content, and the very best of MMA prediction competitions. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.